So I just released version 5.0 of my free dividend portfolio tracking spreadsheet, and in this video we're going to do a full walkthrough so you can see all of the new updates and learn how to use the spreadsheet to track your portfolio. But before we get to that, in case you're new to the channel, my name is Ryan Williams, and here we strictly talk about dividend stocks and how to invest in them to create passive income and reach financial freedom. So if you love dividend stocks, and hit that subscribe button, I would love to have you follow me along on my investing journey, and I would love to hear about yours. Now, regarding the spreadsheet, there are a lot of new updates and features that I've packed into this version. I mean, just here on the dashboard page, I've expanded it to include more information, and there's a different arrangement of charts and graphs if you scroll down there. And if you're coming to version 5.0 from version 3.0, if you skip version 4.0 completely, then this portfolio dashboard page is going to be completely new for you. Now, if we go over to the portfolio summary page, or the position page as it's now called, there are some new updates as well. I mean, first of all, this sector information column is completely fixed. I know that was an issue in previous versions where this was not loading. Additionally, there are more columns that offer more data. Specifically, we've got market return and total return differentiated right here, guys. And basically the difference between these two, market return is just your change in share price without dividends taken into account. Total return includes dividends. So I wanted to include both of these calculations on the spreadsheet. And with that, I've also included a column for total dividends received. So for every single one of your holdings, you can now keep track of how much dividends that you've brought in total. And all the data from this column is pulled from a different page on the spreadsheet, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But before we get to that, let's go through some more updates. So as far as the diversification page goes right here, guys, there were no updates made to this page. But moving on, I actually brought back the watch list page in version 5.0. I know a lot of you guys were asking for that, so the watch list is here. It's very cool. We'll go through a demonstration later in the video. And then an additional update I made is I included this future value calculator. So this is my portfolio right here, guys, and we'll do a full demo later on, but you guys can see it's basically projecting my dividend income and portfolio value across the next, 30 years or so. So I figured this would be a helpful tool to have. Next, I added a dividend log page, which is where you track all of your incoming dividend payments. And this coincides with that column we saw on the positions page, the total dividends received. And the last couple of pages, the monthly data, we did not make any changes to that. So that's still exactly the same. And this last page right here, annual data, is also the same. No changes were made to this bad boy. Now, those were all of the new updates and features to the spreadsheet that were made. And with that, we're now going to go through and do a full walkthrough of the spreadsheet. So if you guys want to follow along with me, there is a link to grab this spreadsheet for free in the description of the video. All you need to do is click the link, and it's going to take you to my brand new website where all you need to do is input your email address, and the spreadsheet will be delivered directly to your inbox. And while you're at it, be sure to subscribe to my free newsletter where every week I'll detail what's new in my dividend portfolio, including any new purchases for the week. And I'll also share any news, nuggets, and other resources that I found helpful in the hopes that it benefits you as well. Anyway, as far as actually using the spreadsheet, let's get into the walkthrough. All right, now what we've been looking at so far in the video, guys, is my actual spreadsheet that I use to track my portfolio. This is what the blank version of the spreadsheet looks like. As you can see, the charts are not loading anything. There's all zeros pretty much across the board. And when you open up the spreadsheet, this is very important. The first thing we need to do before you can go and input your data is we need to make a copy of this spreadsheet. And to do that, guys, all you need to do is go over to File, hit Make a Copy, choose the name you want, where you want to save it, and then you click Make a Copy down here. I know you guys can't see it on your end, but there's a button that you push that says Make a Copy. And upon doing that, it will create a new version of the spreadsheet, completely blank like the template, and you can start inputting your data. All right, guys, now once a copy of the spreadsheet has been made and we're ready to start inputting data, let's go over to the positions page and just start filling in our portfolio. So let's say we have some Apple, maybe we've got some Bank of America, we've got some JP Morgan, we've got some Realty Income, and let's say one more, maybe we've got some Altria Group right here. Let's say that for all of these we have 100 shares, just to make it easy, 100, and we're gonna copy and paste that right there. And then let's fill in the average cost per share. Maybe the average cost for Apple is $130. Maybe we got Bank of America at $30, maybe JP Morgan at $100, Realty Income at $55, and then Altria Group at $42. And once you do this for all of the holdings in your portfolio, you guys can see that pretty much everything on this page is done, except for this column right here. There's still zeros up and down all across the board, and that's because what we need to start doing is actually going and filling out the new dividend log page. So I mentioned this earlier, but on this page, you will track all of your dividend payments, everything that comes in, and you can see up here that you don't even need to go manually put in your ticker symbols because it just pulls it from the positions page right here. At any rate, guys, let's just go start putting in some of our dividends for the year. Maybe in 2022, we got $100 from Apple in January. We got another $200 from Apple in February. I know these are completely unrealistic, guys. This is just for demonstration purposes. Maybe we got the same for Bank of America. Okay, maybe we did really good with JP Morgan. We've got $300 $100 in January. We've got, $500 from Realty Income, and let's say $1,000 for Altria Group. Once again, guys, these are totally ridiculous numbers just for demonstration. But going back over to the positions page right here, guys, you can see that there's no more zeros here. Things are looking all filled in. And furthermore, if we scroll back over to the market return and total return numbers, we can see that these are a bit different as well. Market return 1,150 plus the dividends, you got a total return of 1,450. Market return for Bank of America is about 160 plus the dividends, you have a total return of 460, and so on and so forth. But you can see that with dividends, your market return is going to be much less than the total return. So those dividends can really make a difference, guys. And that's why I wanted to include these columns on the spreadsheet, because I wanted us to be able to track this just to show how much our positions are returning with dividends accounted for, which I think is important considering we're all dividend investors. Now, going back over to the dashboard page, let's see how this looks right here. And we can see it's looking a lot more filled out, right? So most of these charts are pretty much ready to go, except for this one right here, which we'll get to later on in the video. But pretty much everything else, the monthly dividend income, starting to show some numbers based on what was input on the dividend log page, the annual dividend income chart right here. We've got the total gain and cost basis chart right here looking good. And even these cells over in the projected income section have started to populate. And those numbers come from this right here, guys, the future value calculator, which is one of the new features that we've added to this version of the spreadsheet. And what this does, guys, is it'll take the starting principal of our portfolio, which in this hypothetical example is about $38,500 with its dividend yield 3.25%. And it'll allow us to forecast what our dividend income is going to be looking like moving forward. So if we start putting in the rest of these numbers, let's say that every single year we're investing, $12,000 a year, so $1,000 a month there. Let's say we can account for maybe 6% dividend growth in this portfolio, and maybe the share price is going to grow on average by 8% every single year. So we can see that putting in these numbers really changes the calculation. After 10 years, based on all of these numbers, your income is going to be about $6,400. 10 years after that, after 20 years from today, about $14,500. And then after 30 years, you're looking at near $30,000 in dividend income. And it'll even show you the portfolio value right here as we scroll down through the years. But if we go back to the dashboard page, we can see that these numbers right here are looking different now that we've input, more numbers that fit our actual investing scenario, which I think is very cool to see. And having it front and center on the dashboard is, for me, a constant reminder that we're on the right path. And if we keep on keeping on as we've been going, things are going to be looking good 10, 20, 30 years down the road. And we're almost done, but there's still a couple more things that we need to walk through. The next one is this watch list right here, which is something that was heavily requested by you guys that I bring this back. It was in the first few versions of the spreadsheet. I took it out in version 4.0, but now it's back in all of its glory and it's better than ever. And you guys know what a watch list is. We're just keeping track of the stocks that we have our eye on. And let's say maybe we're thinking about buying some Microsoft right here. Pretty much everything is going to populate here. And as I'm doing this, I realize I need to make this column yellow right here. So let's do that real quick. But the only missing piece of the puzzle is this target share price. So right now we know that Microsoft is $234.74 per share, but maybe we want to buy it at around $220 per share. We think that's the fair value. This watch list is going to tell us it's about 6.7% away from this target share price. So it still has some room to come down. Inversely, if we're thinking, maybe $240 is a more acceptable buy price for Microsoft, well, it's 2.19% below that target share price. So that's looking like a good time to buy. So I hope that makes sense, and hopefully you guys will use this watch list to track the stocks that you have your eye on. And the last thing we need to do is go over to this monthly data tab, guys. And basically what this is every single month when you get your brokerage statement, you're going to put some info in right here. So let's actually go down to 2022 right here. Let's do like the month of September. Let's say that, for example, your cost basis in September was $36,000. Okay. And let's say you're up a little bit. Maybe your market value is $38,000. So you're up about $2,000. And using the same number from earlier, like we had on the future value calculator, let's say that you're investing $12,000 every year. So $1,000 every single month. So you'll put that in right there, and it's going to spit out some numbers here. But then if we go back to the dashboard page, guys, we can see that this is starting to load. This last chart is starting to load. So it pulls it from this monthly data page right here. Now, one other very common question I get is about adding new cells to the spreadsheet. And I want to walk you guys through that as well. Now, the spreadsheet comes standard with 30 different rows here. So if you have more than 30 stocks in your portfolio, you'll need to add some rows, but let's go through that real quick. So first I want to delete these, and we're left with this right here. But let's say I decide to add a new stock to my portfolio. What I need to do is add a new row, and instead of doing it from the bottom here, we're actually going to do it somewhere in the middle. So let's do it right below Bank of America. And the reason that we do it specifically this way is because if we don't, it's going to mess with all of the calculations here on this bottom row. So that's why we add a new row right in the middle. And let's say this new stock we added was Coca-Cola, right? So we added Coca-Cola, but the rest of this stuff isn't populating here. So now what we need to do, guys, is highlight all of these cells right here in the row above, and we can just drag and drop them to this new row that we've created like so. And all the formulas will copy and paste into this new row. The only thing you'll need to change, obviously, is like the number of shares. But let's say with Coca-Cola, our average cost per share is 50 bucks. And that's all you need to do to add a new row. Everything else should be looking good to go. You won't need to do anything else as far as I can see. And once again, if you guys want to start using this spreadsheet for yourself, you can check it out right over here. All you need to do is click the link and it'll take you right where you need to go. If you have any questions on using the spreadsheet, feel free to leave me a comment below or shoot me an email. I'm happy to help. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.